Part 1. The Dark Fall explained 700 words. Alaresivon was a thriving human colony world known for its twin suns, crystalline mountain ranges, and bustling mining economy. The day this story begins, however, everything changes. From the first the moment of dawn, something feels wrong. There is no golden glow stretching across the land, no warm morning air, no comforting light pouring through the windows of homes or the command deck of Station Zenith. It's the orbital oversight center for the colony. The sky is black, completely and unnaturally black. Commander Rhea Langley, the military head of Station Zenith, is the first to formally notice the anomaly. At first, the lack of sunrise seems like it might be some kind of temporary eclipse. She calmly requests a scan from Control, expecting a scientific explanation, but the reply she receives is chilling. There is no eclipse. Both suns are still shining. In space, the light simply isn't reaching the planet. This triggers a rapid escalation of alerts and emergency protocols. The station's solar arrays fail almost immediately since they rely on direct sunlight. Planetary energy systems begin draining backup power to sustain life support, lighting, and environmental control. Plants inside biodomes begin to wither due to the lack of natural light. Outside, civilians start to panic as the temperature drops sharply. Alaresivon, which was once bathed in twin-star warmth, is now slowly freezing. Rhea orders a full system diagnostic and orbital survey. But the truth soon comes from an entirely different source. Earth, a priority. Alert arrives via a tight beam transmission, heavily encrypted and marked Eisenly. The contents of the message are terrifying. Alaresivon is not alone. Over the past 36 hours, more than 30 fringe colonies and exploratory outposts have gone dark in the same way. In each case, the sun still burns, but the light no longer reaches. The surface, worse yet, no contact has been re-established with any of the afflicted worlds. The blackout zones are completely silent. Rhea realizes immediately that this isn't just a power failure or a natural phenomenon. Something much more deliberate and far more sinister is at work. She assembles her command team and quickly starts reviewing deep space observations. What they find is even more disturbing. Stars in multiple sectors appear dimmer from long-range telescopes, as if their very light is being drained. The implications are staggering. Something is either blocking the light or consuming it. At ground level, the effects are starting to compound. With no light and no warmth, societal order begins to fray. There are food shortages, environmental destabilization, and fear spreading like wildfire. The colony's leaders look to Rhea for answers, but she has none. Not yet. Back on the command deck, her science officer, Dr. Mace Erie, presents a chilling hypothesis. They may be witnessing the work of a sentient force, technology, of manipulating stellar radiation. If that's true, this is not a natural disaster. It's a coordinated act against the light itself, against the core energy source of life, just as the colony's reserves dip into red line territory. Rhea receives her final orders from Earth Command. She is to evacuate critical personnel, leave Alaresivon in the care of its automated systems, and report to the Deep Space Warfleet being mobilized under the Umbra Protocol, a long-dormant contingency plan for galactical emergencies. Rhea is stunned. The Umbra Protocol is ancient, built during the AI war centuries ago as a last resort. Against total system collapse, that it's been reactivated means Earth believes this is not just a threat to colonies, but to humanity as a whole. As evacuation shuttles begin launching from Alaresivon, and the planet slowly dims into frozen silence, Rhea watches one last time. As the sky remains black, no sunrise, no twilight, no glimmer of hope on the horizon. Whatever is out there has taken the light, and humanity is now standing at the edge of a very long night. Part 2. The Umbra Protocol explained 700 words with dozens of human colonies losing their sunlight and falling silent. Earth responds with a level of seriousness not seen in centuries. It activates the Umbra Protocol. This ancient, highly classified emergency directive was created after the AI Warzan era of devastating interstellar conflict to prepare for apocalyptic threats that could strike beyond conventional warfare. Its reactivation signals one thing: humanity is now facing a crisis that could lead to species-wide extinction. Commander Rhea Langley, recently evacuated from the blacked-out world of Alara 7, is immediately reassigned. She and her science officer, Dr. Maciari, are brought aboard the Solstice Blade, a Terran Dreadnought-class warship designed for extreme deep space warfare and crisis intervention. It is one of several capital ships mobilized from dormant Black Ops shipyards, scattered across the Terran Protectorate's hidden armories. Unlike civilian vessels, the Solstice Blade is built for silence, resilience, and firepower. It operates entirely on internal fusion reactors, carries weapons capable of distorting gravity, and has its own self-contained biosphere in case external solar energy becomes unavailable. The ship is also equipped with an experimental AI called Daedalus, which was mothballed decades ago for being too autonomous. But desperate times call for dangerous tools. The fleet's mission is simple, but chilling. Trace the origin of the darkness. Deep sensor readings suggest a central convergence point somewhere within the Myriac Veil, a galactic dead zone avoided by all known species. This region has long been associated with failed expeditions, disappearing probes, and ancient derelicts. No one had dared to explore it in centuries. Now, humanity has no choice, as the fleet prepares to depart. Dr. Erie works feverishly to understand what exactly is happening to the stars. His findings reveal something deeply unsettling. The stars themselves are not just being hidden, they are being drained. Their spectral signatures are weakening. Radiation outputs are dropping. This isn't just some passive shield or cloaking field. Something is consuming stellar energy across a wide band of systems. Even worse, the consumption pattern is not random, spreading methodically system by system, as if the entity behind it is strategically harvesting starlight to fuel something massive, something old. Humanity, for all its firepower and ingenuity, is still relatively new to galactic space. What could possibly feed on stars? The Umbra fleet departs from the Sol system and heads toward the Veil. Along the way, they receive fragmented transmissions from other colonies, brief screams, power surges, then silence. In one message, a terrified voice whispers, "It's watching, it remembers the heat." That line becomes a grim mantra among the fleet crew. They don't yet know what it means, but it implies sentience-awareness. The journey is unnerving. The closer the fleet gets to the Veil, the darker space becomes not visually, but sensorially. Stars that should be visible aren't. Background radiation fades. Even the ambient noise of the universe cosmic microwave echoes, gamma pulses. Ion storms begins to disappear, and then they start finding wreckage at the edge of the Veil. The fleet encounters shattered ships from multiple species, many believed lost centuries ago. One hulk bears omnary markings, an ancient civilization presumed extinct. Another vessel appears to have been melted from the inside, its hull warped and twisted. In the void, they discover a drifting satellite carved with a message etched into its plating in dozens of languages. It eats the light, forgets nothing. Turn back. But Earth has no more time for fear. The blackout zones grow by the day. If the fleet doesn't stop whatever is causing this, Earth will fall next. Plants will die. Oceans will freeze. Civilization will collapse in darkness. Rhea, now functioning as acting fleet commander, begins organizing the fleet into defensive phalanxes. The Solstice Blade leads the formation, while scout ships venture deeper into the Veil. Meanwhile, Dr. Erie warns her of a new threat. The light drain is accelerating. It's not just targeting suns anymore, it's starting to feed on any source of radiant energy, including artificial light and fusion reactors. That means the fleet itself is a beacon, a target. Still, Rhea presses forward, because humanity has faced extinction before: AI uprisings, plague outbreaks, planet crackers. And every time, it survived not because it was the strongest, but because it refused to die quietly as they breach the edge of the Myriac Veil. The ship's lights flicker. Temperatures drop. Stars behind them fade as if swallowed. And then, for the first time, something moves in the darkness ahead. Something that blocks all sensors. Something so dark it seems to erase existence itself. The darkness isn't just spreading, it's coming for them. Part 3. Into the Hollow Night explains 700 words as the Umbra fleet crosses the threshold into the Miriac Vale. Everything changes. Space itself feels different, more muted, almost hollow. Even though the ships are still flying through the vacuum, there is an unnerving silence. Sensor arrays show nothing. No starlight, no radio emissions, no background radiation. The region seems empty, but the human crew knows better. It's empty never means safe. The deeper they go, the more wreckage they encounter. Derelict alien. Ships from species long gone or missing float like tombstones, scarred and frozen in strange shapes. One vessel is twisted around itself as if something bent it like soft metal. Another has no visible damage but no signs of life either. The bodies of its crew are found in fetal positions, eyes open, expressions of horror frozen forever. On one mangled structure, a strange phrase is discovered etched into its hull in what appears to be claw marks. It eats light. It remembers heat. Run. That phrase, the same as in the earlier transmission, now becomes more than just eerie. It's a warning. Suddenly the solstice blade is hit, but not by weapons, by something far more terrifying. Gravitational distortion. The ship lurches sideways, pulled off course. Emergency systems flare to life as stabilizers struggle to correct. Rhea orders a full stop. The rest of the fleet circles defensively. Then, first true encounter begins. A shadow emerges ahead, slowly, like a silhouette against a darker void. But unlike normal shadows, this one isn't the absence of light. It is something that seems to consume light itself. No ship sensors can penetrate it. LiDAR bounces back nothing. Even the experimental darkwave radar returns a signal reading that the object is not theirs, though reality bends around it, and then it reveals its form. The object, no, the creature's massive, kilometers long, not mechanical, yet not entirely organic either. Its surface is a smooth, mirror-like substance that reflects nothing. Its edges shimmer faintly in twisted patterns, like oil on black water. The creature has no visible weapons, no propulsion, no language, but it begins moving toward the fleet. Slowly, silently, hungrily, attempts at communication fail. The ship's AI dataless cannot establish a channel. All frequencies light radio. Sound, gravitational pulses, go unanswered. Then it opens its maw. Not a mouth, but a widening rift on its front side, revealing nothing but an absolute void. It doesn't roar or screech, simply begins inhaling. One of the fleet's destroyers, TNS. Ferric Donnie's caught in its gravitational pull. Engines screaming, it tries to escape, but the ship crumples like aluminum foil, crushed into a ball of compressed matter, then vanishes into the creature's abyss. That's when Rhea gives the order. All units engage. The fleet unleashes a barrage of humanity's finest weaponry: plasma torpedoes, kinetic spikes, energy lances, and singularity charges. But something horrifying happens. None of it reaches the creature. The beams curve mid-space. Torpedoes slow and disintegrate. Even light-based weapons bend away, devoured before touching its surface. The fleet is helpless. Humanity's weapons, designed to pierce planets, are useless. It quickly becomes clear, this being doesn't just survive in darkness. It feeds on energy and light, heat, radiation, gravity. It is a predator of the very forces that sustain life. On board the Solstice Blade, Rhea and Dr. Eerie face a terrifying realization. Humanity can't win this with light, so they decide to fight in the dark. Rhea orders a total blackout. Every human. Ship powers down all non-essential systems, going cold and dark to reduce their energy signatures. They shut off active sensors, run silent, and drift in formation. It's an old naval trick, used during stealth warfare, now repurposed for survival. The creature pauses. It senses the lack of food. It drifts, searching. The blackout works. Temporarily, the fleet regroups behind a nearby shattered moonlet, hidden in its shadow, and starts analyzing. Daedalus, the AI, proposes a theory. The creature is a relic of ancient biomechanical design, possibly created by a long-lost civilization like the Omniri. It has since evolved into a parasitic force, no longer thinking in traditional terms, but operating on pure instinct. Absorb light, consume energy, expand, and it's getting smarter. The AI warns that the next encounter won't be so lucky. Creature is already adapting to their tactics. It will soon learn how to detect even dormant systems. Rhea knows the next phase of the mission must involve a new strategy. One that uses older, more volatile technologies. Ones humans swore never to use again, because the only thing that might hurt this thing is something even older than light. Fire. Part 4. The Old Flame explained 700 words humanity's most advanced weaponry energy beams, plasma torpedoes, light-based cannons, had utterly failed against the darkness. Oh, the da-da-da-da-da. The creature they encountered in the Myriac Vale did not resist. These weapons, it consumed them. Any energy-based attack only seemed to make it stronger, faster. More aware Commander Rhea Langley knew that standard tactics were useless. Their only advantage now was unpredictability. So she made a desperate and dangerous decision to reach into humanity's past its darkest weapons. Its most volatile experiments. If light fed the creature, then they needed to use something older, something raw. They needed fire. Dr. Mace Erie and the ship's AI, Daedalus, begin digging through restricted archives and blacklisted technologies. One in particular catches their attention: the Prometheus core, a banned experimental weapon. The core was a self-contained starseed fusion reactor that could overload itself and go critical, releasing a detonation thousands of times more intense than conventional nuclear warheads. The reason it was banned wasn't moral. It was practical. Too unstable, too unpredictable, and too dangerous. Perfect. The Solstice Blade receives authorization to deploy it. They choose their battlefield. Carefully, an asteroid field in the Vale surrounded by the broken remains of ancient vessels. It's the only cover available. The plan is simple. Lure the creature close using the ship's own core as bait. Then eject the Prometheus core and trigger a manual detonation as the entity draws near. Everything rests on timing as the operation begins. The creature, now dubbed the Hollow by the fleet, detects the fusion signature and starts moving again. This time it's faster, more precise. It seems angrier. Somehow, if such an emotion could be applied to something so alien, the bait works. The Hollow closes in on the Solstice Blade, ignoring the rest of the fleet. It begins to open its void maw once again. Rhea gives the order. Core. Separation. Trigger countdown. The Prometheus core is launched into space, tumbling slowly. A second later, auxiliary fighters shoot grav hooks to stabilize it in the creature's path. As the Hollow nears the core, it hesitates briefly as if sensing something unfamiliar. Then it lunges. Daedalus arms the detonation. A moment of pure silence follows. Then a sun is born. The explosion is unlike anything the crew has ever witnessed. It lights up the asteroid field with a blinding white flash. Even with shields raised, the ship rocks from the shockwave. Radiation surges in every direction, and for 1 second, the Myriac Vale itself seems to flicker. The Hollow screams. Not audibly, but in waves, rippling pulses of pure interference that scramble every sensor, rattle every ship, and even cause temporary blackouts in neural implants. It's not a death cry, it's pain. Real pain. The detonation doesn't destroy it, but it hurts it, scorches its outer layer, breaks its gravitational grip, forces it to flee. It vanishes into the void, but not before leaving behind something new, a trail. For the first time, it bled, shedding shimmering fragments of its dark skin like flakes of obsidian. These fragments allow Dr. Irie to scan its molecular structure, revealing a truth that stuns the entire command crew. The Hollow is not just a monster, it's a machine. Or it was once, built perhaps by the extinct Omniri, meant to harvest solar energy. But abandoned in the cold emptiness of the Vale, it evolved. Over eons, it adapted, lost its original function. It became something primal, a cosmic predator driven by instinct. Find light, consume heat, survive. It had forgotten what it was, but now it remembers pain. The rest of the fleet regroups around the Solstice blade. Damage is assessed. Crew injuries tallied, but morale surges. For the first time, they'd wounded the enemy. That meant it could be fought. Back on Earth and surviving colonies, news spreads. Humanity's engineers begin working on adaptations of the Prometheus core scaled-down versions that can be launched. From fighters or satellites, terraformers' machines designed to heat dead planets are converted into weapons. The phrase "burn the dark" becomes a rallying cry. Meanwhile, Dr. Erie warns Rhea, the Hollow will return, and it will be ready. Its behavior is changing. Its attacks more calculated. It's learning. Rhea knows the final confrontation must be decisive. They can't keep retreating. The Hollow isn't just feeding, it's expanding its reach, accelerating the dimming of nearby stars. Soon, even the Sol system could fall under its shadow. So a plan is proposed. Lure the Hollow to a dead trinary System 3 collapsed stars. Once used as an experimental research site and ignite them in a chained fusion reaction. A stellar trap. The mission is dubbed Operation Dawnforge, because if the Hollow fears heat, then humanity will give it a firestorm it cannot forget. Part 5. The Day the Sky Fought Back explains 700 words with the terrifying power of the Hollow now fully understood. Humanity prepares for its most ambitious and final stand. Operation Dawnforge. The goal is simple, though. The execution is anything but. Lure the Hollow to a dead trinary star system and use specially modified Prometheus cores to reignite all 3 collapsed suns in a synchronized chain reaction. The idea is to overload the Hollow's ability to absorb or flee. 1 star might not be enough, but 3 igniting simultaneously in a spatially locked gravity well? That would unleash the kind of firepower even a star reader couldn't consume. The location chosen is Vega Nexus, a distant and forgotten trinary system whose stars collapsed long ago into black dwarf cores, silent, cold, and inert, no light, no heat. A perfect place for an ambush. Commander Rhea Langley takes direct control of the Solstice blade once again, just to serve as both the bait and final ignition trigger. Dr. Mace Erie stays on board, working with the AI Daedalus to synchronize the fusion cores. Other capital ships deploy around the system, hiding in the shadows of ancient moons and asteroid belts. Every ship is dark, silent, and watching. The Hollow, as predicted, cannot resist the bait. It arrives faster than expected, larger than before its body now expanded after feeding on several dimmed stars along its way. It's become more than just a predator. It's an ecosystem of its own, layers of magnetic tendrils, spongy darkness, and a dense core that twists space around it. And it's no longer operating on instinct alone. It knows this is a trap, and it doesn't care. The Solstice blade lights up. It's flaring its modified fusion core to draw attention. The Hollow lunges, opening its maw. Time slows. The creature begins pulling the ship into its event field. That's when Rhea issues the order. Now. 3 Prometheus cores, each anchored near the black dwarf remnants, are detonated in precise sequence. But the first one ruptures the core of the dead star, reactivating a fusion cascade. Second triggers a stellar reaction in the second Dwarfit's explosion, destabilizing the surrounding gravity, and the third, planted at the Hollow's escape vector, cuts off its exit. The trinary chain reaction lights up the system with the birth of not 1, but 3 new stars. For the first time in centuries, the Vega Nexus burns again. Caught in the center of it all, the Hollow begins to thrash. Its body distorts, its event field falters. It tries to absorb the light, but it's too much. The cascading solar winds tear at its form. Every time it opens its maw to feed, another burst of radiation scorches it. The fleet, latching from behind magnetic shields, witnesses what no other species ever has, the unmaking of a living darkness, as the Hollow screams one last time through. Pulses of energy so intense, they short out half the fleet's systems. It begins to fragment. Its surface bubbles, peels, and finally shatters like glass hit by a hammer. Pieces spiral out into the forming star Coreni, where they vaporize in seconds. The darkness is gone. Silence falls. It's not the eerie, lightless silence of before. The quiet after thunder, moment of stillness. Then the sensors of the fleet flicker back online. Light floods every screen. For the first time in what feels like ages. The sky shines. Back on Earth, the artificial suns powering failing cities suddenly surge with energy as solar radiation returns. Crops begin to regrow. Night fades into a glorious sunrise. For the first time since the Darkfall, Earth's children see a clear blue sky. On Alaru 7, the once frozen mining colony, where it all began, survivors crawl out of shelters. They shield their eyes and cheer. The twin suns rise again, blazing. Brighter than they ever remember, in orbit over Vega Nexus, a memorial beacon is placed near the wreckage of the Solstice Blade, which was too close to the blast to survive intact. Commander Rhea Langley and Dr. Irie are listed as lost in action, but honored as the ones who lit the final match. Etched into the plaque are the final words. Transmitted from the Solstice Blade before its destruction, we are children of fire. When the sky forgot to shine, we reminded it. The Hollow was not the first threat to humanity, and it likely won't be the last. But this victory becomes a defining legend. Humanity, once considered a fragile newcomer species among the stars, proved a truth more ancient than any empire. When faced with darkness, humans don't hide, they light fires.